Hello everyone, and welcome to a special Ancient and Medieval Adventures countdown. Today, we will be looking at the 5 coolest inventions from the ancient world, as determined by our very own Museum of Antiquities education team. Kicking off our list in the number 5 spot is the Antikythera Mechanism. This mysterious object was discovered among the remains of a shipwreck located off the coast of the Greek island Antikythera in the early 1900s. The shipwreck is dated to 60 BCE, which means that it is at least over 2,000 years old. This strange piece of the wreckage is believed by some scientists to have been the world's first computer. It is made up of gears and dials made of bronze and wood, which was preserved through time by the environmental conditions on the floor of the sea. Scientists believe that the device was used to predict the position of the sun, moon, stars, and planets. It even predicted eclipses of the moon and sun. Our choice for number 4 is Greek fire. This impressive weapon, created by Byzantine Greeks, was more than just regular fire, it was liquid fire. It could burn underwater and could not be extinguished. The impressive chemical weapon was first used by the Byzantines to defend Constantinople from enemy attacks in the 7th century CE, in battles both on land and in the water. The strange mixture was an improvement of the earlier Greek weapons. Since the 5th century BCE, for almost 1,000 years, they had been using a simple mixture of animal fat and sulfur to ignite their weapons. The recipe for Greek fire has unfortunately been lost to time, but historians believe that some of the ingredients may have been crude oil, resin, potassium nitrate, and sulfur. However, no one has been able to get it right, and so it remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Roman concrete takes the number 3 slot. This may not seem like a very exciting invention to you, but Roman concrete is actually an interesting and significant historical tool. Although it looks like normal concrete, Roman concrete lasts longer and is stronger than modern concrete, as it continues to harden over time rather than crumbling apart. Thanks to the Roman historian Vitruvius, we know a few of the ingredients used to make it: volcanic ash, ground-up limestone, rubble or sand, and water. Modern scientists are currently working on how to perfect the recipe for Roman concrete that was used by ancient builders. The use of concrete allowed the Romans to not only build beautiful architecture like the domed ceiling of the Pantheon in Rome, but it also allowed many beautiful examples of ancient buildings and structures to stand strong for thousands of years. Our second favorite ancient invention is glass. Glass is all around us, and it would probably seem weird to try to imagine a life without it. Glass first appeared in the ancient Near East around 2500 BCE, but it did not become very common until 1500 BCE. The earliest glass objects were mainly for ritual use and were meant to look like precious gemstones. The earliest glass-making method was called casting because hot liquid glass would be poured into a mold and allowed to cool. Another early technique was called core forming. This was a slow and expensive process, so not many people had access to glass when it was first manufactured. Core forming was done by forming a solid core of dung and mud and pushing a metal rod into that core. After it cooled down, glass was formed around this metal rod. This technique was used to create the alabastron, or small jug, pictured here, which is in the collection at the Museum of Antiquities. A new method of glass making was developed in the 1st century BCE called glass blowing. Using this method, a ball of molten glass would be formed at the end of a metal blowpipe, and when air was blown through the pipe, it would form a glass bubble that could then be molded into different shapes and objects. This glass blowing technique allowed glass to be created more quickly, so glass became more widespread and accessible. The Romans perfected their own glass making using natron, also called Egyptian soda. The Romans also figured out how to make clear glass in the 1st century CE, so we have them to thank for the windows in our homes today. The moment you've all been waiting for, Ancient and Medieval Adventures' top ancient invention is none other than coins. A long time ago, there was no such thing as regulated money or coinage in the world, and people had to use things like livestock or crops to trade for other goods and services. Can you imagine having to use a cow to buy something? That would be a real pain. The first Western coins were created in the Greek kingdom of Lydia around the 7th century BCE. These coins were made from blobs of cooled electrum, which is a combination of gold and silver. These blobs were stamped with a square on the back and a small symbol on the front. As coins spread throughout the Mediterranean world, Gods, or symbols associated with gods, were often found on the front or obverse of the coin, like the crab on the Sagragas silver diagram, which was the symbol of the god Poseidon. The image on the obverse of this Alexander III silver dram depicts the god Heracles. While lumps of precious metals were often used as an early form of currency, the Romans did not begin to mint their own coins until around 300 BCE. By the time of the emperors, coins were very common. Around the reign of the Emperor Diocletian in the 3rd and 4th centuries CE, coins became standardized. This meant that coins had a specific value depending on their denomination, like how dimes are always worth 10 cents or nickels are always worth 5 cents. Coins revolutionized trade in the ancient Mediterranean world, and they are so important that we continue to use them today, thousands of years later. Thanks for watching. What do you think about our list? Do you think these ancient inventions deserve to be in the top 5? Let us know what you think on our social media pages, and be sure to visit Ancient and Medieval Adventures camps online for more fun and educational content.